And anyone who's saying, including the praise singers baba UPND, talechulelelo kwena nishichipu because I'm a chushina yesa and everyone is suffering. Let's be real. Even some of the praise singers who come on this program, when they make phone calls and talk, vale chula. But because they are paid, they think, no, nala nandef. Kadaka tungwenga ba kupela mwana. Mailo kakapwa. Muka le fisenda no kufidia. Because no momo tuwala pitanichi da Twitter, don't kuwewa reloaded. Muka die because it's your money. But pamutima, muika wecho mwachula nacho. Muika wecho na mchula. Ndefu ayoro mulea mu 2026 mukuvota muka ina mufulwa. Mwebera tu amukutamfyo muntu. Nga mwavota, don't even leave. Kuikala parapeni mpaka bapenda. And make sure you have the result before you leave. O mwavotela mufile mwashi wat new to vote no tukumifisa. If you are my strategies, na ifoto kala bumba kunitanshuko.
So as we're coming to the end of our interaction, what are you concluding, Max, to our listeners and our viewers?
Mkwainende pafya wena Zambia. Ukweba ti twikatane. Tupepelesa wa makayonse. Ukweba ti ilo tuwala ikatana. Wa UPND wena tawafili okushuluka 2026 wafili okuya. Ama chushi achila. Ichoche na ndela ya. Tabaka chuluke 2026. Elo ngabalefo okuya tabaka chiteriga my elections. I am warning the UPND. I know how to run elections. So tukapepekana. Nikola nembwa.
Okay.
Mkwai.
So now moving forward. If you could achieve only one transformative change for Zambia's president, what would it be and why?
If I am president?
Yes. If you could achieve just one thing, which would that be and why that particular thing?
Creation of Zambian youth jobs.
Why?
Because I know that is how you get people out of poverty. I want to be remembered as a president who created employment, who created jobs. That is all. Take that, leave it.
Mr. Fobe, we've been on this program for more than an hour.
Mkwai.
What message would you like to send to the Zambian people, particularly those struggling with high cost of living and unemployment?
Very simple. Now to go to Chipondom State House. Chifude chai. Ubu chushi wonsio univa UPND valete. Fionza formule pitamu ubunga na bushupa. Ama laiti takudi. Emiti mfipatala tamudi. Transport itailenda winu. What else do you want? Na mwisho wa kuchita blame. And the blame falls squarely on the president because this is an executive kind of democracy. The president is the ultimate power. Therefore, any decision done in his name, the buck stops at him. Mu 2026 mwewe na Zambia. We've only got one goal. As an alliance, a coalition, or whatever we shall call it, let's get rid of the UPND. Vatuchusha pafula. And anyone who's saying, including the praise singers baba UPND, talechulelelo kwena nishichipu. Because I'm a chushina yesa and everyone is suffering. Let's be real. Even some of the praise singers who come on this program, when they make phone calls and talk, vale chula. But because they are paid, they think, no, nala nandef. Kadaka tungwenga ba kupela mwana. Mailo kakapwa. Amashi ulela ndayale shala. People will remember you and they will look at you as a fool. So, support the right cause. Support the majority of the poor Zambians. And this is very important to any leader worth his salt. You must be truthful when you speak. If you're just speaking because navakupela tungwe and you're not honest with yourself, well, inengo mwina Kristo ndatino kubepo.
Where can people learn more about your manifesto and the party, Zambia Must Prosper?
Well, we are online. They can find it on our blogs, on our website and other areas. But more importantly, they can just interact with our leadership. We've got the provincial chairman in the Copper Belt, the various provinces. Our leadership is growing. Our membership is growing. Like I told you yesterday, and I'll repeat here, I'm a grassroots person. I like being hands-on. I like organizing kufuma panshi because I know when the foundation is strong, chonzo cholekula pamulu will be strong. But you don't build from the leaves. If you ask me today, UPND ishielefe pamulu Parape ni wale yumfati ni ba minister, ni ba executive management decision wa UPND. Punch UPND tapadi. I know for a fact because we have traveled this country. And the reason is the UPND leadership doesn't know how to organize its party. And let me speak frankly. By UPND, by youth today, wale chula, just like anyone else. Vanamaya wam UPND, wale chula, just like anybody else. And in fact, now I say vana. Because they are regretting supporting UPND. Now they realize, fionse fuba bebe le fiabufi. Fionse fuba bala ile fiabufi. Ama cooperatives wale wakupanga tapali file bomba. There's no empowerment coming out of UPND. Wale bepe fia CDF. CDF taile bomba na mchimo. Wale upat free education. Free education taile bomba na mchimo. Wale bepat walichita employ ma doctors na ma teachers mwe. Uko chita employ. Na chonga chaba skewed because mwambo kumonika kwa nakani mfiliko tribal. Tafiwa mayo. So those are issues which now people are scared of because they realize inshitana ipwa. So tukachitasha mu 2026 wufinch tukesa bepa. Uwa mide telela ba UPND ni akainde ichilema. Akanwa kakwe akabufi. Uwa mide telela imuwa praise singer ni akainde ichilema. Akanwa kakwe akabufi. But nala milomba mwebe na Zambia nero tatulaya ndefo kumibukishago. Gabaisa nenda lama. Baisa no bunga, baisa nefe bale foko mifole shanga kuli by election nanguli tukala ku 2026. Muka le fisenda no kufidia. Because no momo tuwala pitanichi da Twitter don't kubeba reloaded. Muka die because it's your money. But pamutima muikala wecho mwachula nacho. Muikala wecho na mchula. Ndefu ayoro mulea mu 2026 mukuvota muka ina mufulwa. Mwebela tuwa mukutamfyo muntu. Nga mwavota don't even leave. Kuikala parapeni mpaka bapenda. And make sure you have the result before you leave. O mwa votela mfile mwashi wat new to votele no tukumifisa. If you ashala ma strategies na ifoto kala bomba kunitanshuko.
So as we're coming to the end of our interaction, what are your concluding remarks to our listeners and our viewers?
Mkwa inende pafya wena Zambia. Ukweba ti tuikatane. Tupepelesa wa makayonse. Ukweba ti ilo toala ikatana. Wa UPND wena tawafu ilo kushuruka 2026 wafu ilo kuya. Ama chushi achila. Ichoche na ndela ya. Tabaka chiluke 2026. Elo ngabalefo okwewa tabaka chiteriga my elections. I am warning the UPND. I know how to run elections. So tukapepekana. Nikola nembwa. Na totera mkwai.
Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it. Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the red subscribe button down below and turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
We as Zambia Must Prosper have studied that trick and we're saying we must attack the economic laws of this country. What do we mean by economic laws? Laws such as education. Because that ultimately what is going to put food on your table, either as a professional or indeed as a worker. So 2, we are going to attack land law.
Land acquisition.
Land law. By land law, I mean how you own land.
Yes.
How you sell land. How you go and enter into mining, because all that attaches to land.
Yes.
We are also going to attach banking laws, because all these laws were brought in by the Muzungu. But you may want to know that in all these laws, they are skewed to perpetuate their colonialism, their imperialism, under the new umbrella called Neocolonialism. And that's the problem we have. Unfortunately, the current president of this country, Hakainde Hichilema, has embraced this nonsense. I don't know what history he studied. I don't know what kind of thinking he does. But Hakainde Hichilema na ambanichi busa na bamuisa, the so-called investors. And he has allowed them this country, hook, line, and sinker, so that they control our mining, they control our agriculture, they control our commerce and trade, they control almost every aspect of our lives. If we are not careful, it's very easy for Mwisaba to poison us. You see what is happening in the agriculture sector, for instance. UPND comes into government and they come and sell 2 to 3 years of stock of maize kept in silos by the PF government, wipe clean, vashtisha. Umwabela lesa, ichilala chaisa. There's a drought. Then the maize is gone. You start buying back that maize from Tanzania and from Kenya, from whichever country had sold the maize originally. Yeriamataba, because of the moisture and the content now, because of the equatorial climate where it's coming from. Yeriamataba esa namalwele, to ambokuluala. Umungulu, no planning. So we as Zambia Must Prosper are going to, first of all, encourage entrepreneurship based on our culture.
Yes.
Based on banking laws we shall institute and present. We shall go and attack the mining laws so that we can have you, him, and the other guys, African Zambian men, owning these mines. There's nothing difficult. How do the Nigerians do it? There's Dangote. There's Chief Sokoto, Chief Abujo, Chief Chakuti. They own industries.
Yes, the means of production.
They own the means of production. Now, if you give those means of production, Kubasungu, in this country, 60 years after independence, what are you doing to the Zambians? We are still enslaved, but economically. Bamipela political independence, Wapoka economy, then you're not free. This is what our founding fathers of this country, this continent called Africa. So, Avena Kwame Nkrumah, Avena Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the KKs, and all these founding fathers of African countries, they saw this. If you know any history as much as I do, you realize that part of the reason Patrice Lumumba was killed in the Congo was because he stood up to King Leopold.
Belgians, yeah.
Yes, he stood up to King Leopold of the second of Belgium.
Yeah.
He told him, no, you're not welcome now. You've killed over 10 million of our people. You've stolen our wealth. And we can't have you here. They realized. Look at Belgium. Without the Congo supporting Belgium, what is in Belgium?
Nothing.
Without those Niger, Burkina Faso, those 14 Francophone countries in West Africa supporting France, what is France?
Nothing.
Equally, if we did not export our copper by force, South Africa did not export its copper, cobalt, gold to England by force. Ghana did not export its gold and cocoa to England by force. Where would those countries be?
Nowhere.
They wouldn't be developed.
Yeah.
Equally, we now are in this state as Zambia Must Prosper to tell the Zambians that a time has come when we must turn the tables around. Umusungu, we can only thank him because he sent some of us to school. But in sending some of us to school, some of us went with a critical mind. What is it that makes Umusungu special? There's nothing. Because some of us who traveled to go to their countries, we've seen there are more poorer people in those countries than they are here. You're even much better being poor in Africa than Korea. Because there, if you don't have money, you're finished. So in Zambia Must Prosper, we are targeting these areas so that we grow them. In the agricultural sector, for instance, we are going to create what we term as production cities. What is a production city? A production agricultural city is going to be based on a particular crop or crops.
Depending on the region.
On the region where you are. So if, for instance, in Chipata, you can grow cotton, you can grow tobacco, you can grow groundnuts. You choose one of these two crops. Against that farming block, you have to have an industry, which can then create, if it's groundnuts, cooking
value
oil.
addition.
Yeah, that's the value addition. Now, how was this Luansha town, Kunondi?
Yes.
How was it created? They first had to discover mining.
Yes, copper.
Copper became the core industry. Then they realized that abantu bashimayininga balaisa kuno bakula upana. Residential accommodation started to grow. Then they needed Ron Hospital.
Yes.
Then they needed the schools. And then the banking system and other trade areas
Social amenities for the children as well.
That is how a production city grows. With that concept, we shall do the same with agriculture.
Just not to cut you, when you talk about agriculture and having production cities for agriculture, in recent times, I was reading somewhere on the internet where they say marijuana as a crop.
Yes.
It is a crop that can make a lot of money.
A
and our
lot.
climate is conducive. But we've got laws that are against farming, cultivating, or just possession of marijuana. Where we copied those laws from, they have rescinded them.
Not copied.
Yes.
They exported those laws. They created. You remember where I'm coming
Yeah,
from?
we
The colonial
didn't.
masters
They brought them to us.
brought those laws here and made what's supposed to be legal and make us money illegal.
Yes.
And therefore, they said, Imwe, you should be in perpetual poverty. Let me tell you some history. If you look at the rich American families today, they are rich because their wealth was created from illegal activities.
Yeah.
During the Prohibition period, the Kennedys, the Rockefellers, the Ford Foundation, and all these other big families,
The Rothschilds.
they were importing beer, which was illegal at the time. Alcohol was illegal during Prohibition.
Yeah.
But they were smuggling it through Canada, taking it to America and making money. Just like Ichambalelo, drugs are said to be illegal.
Yes.
So you go and make cocaine illegal for Mexico so that Mexico can be poor. Meanwhile, the cocaine finds itself in America and it's the biggest business today.
Yes.
What are you trying to say? These laws are imposed on third world countries so that they do not make us rich. If ever Zambia must prosper, that's one of the things. We're going to kick out Drug Enforcement Commission. We don't need it. What is it doing? Vale Kenya, if Okulachita grow marijuana. Meanwhile, they're growing marijuana
And they've legalized
in
it.
greenhouse houses.
And they've
it's one of
legalized
the
it.
first laws we're going to kick out. Because Fianchi, if marijuana is medicinal, if marijuana is expensive on the world market, why are you going to make it illegal? Make it legal so that you can make money for your people. It is only illegal because the white man says so. That's not correct. We must live and make laws according to our culture. Ero tuwale kula. Whoever said dukupe bechamba was illegal. In fact, in Goipshaba Dobola, they'll tell you. Ngana Dobola ndali masana.
Yeah.
So how are you going to stop him? Ngana Dobola on panto mupira. I wish the late Gentile Kapambwe Mulengo Vunkana was alive. Go and ask him. He would have told you. How in bossing and shwikile munshate ebola. But ingabi kamo. Nangumwaisa kabola tiyo mfede na iso wa kukamerun. Either bola ilea nangumundu alesha. That was Kapambwe Mulengo. And you knew. So in a way, you can't be saying no to vnyepwe chituti. Abasungu wali tuwika mulika trick. And the trick is they gave us bad laws to perpetuate our poverty. Equally, in the mining rights, if you find gold, emerald, nickel, or whatever you find in the earth, I should have a say. Because if you don't pay me the equivalent of what I won't give you the right.
Yes, I totally concur with you on that one.
The mining rights against land surface rights, there can be, and there is, an engineer somewhere in the mining department. Kukitwe, Nangukulusaka, Nangukundola. We call him a mining engineer, a mining director.
Yes.
He has the right, by a stroke of a pen, ukukupoka land yobe, simply because they've discovered oil or other minerals on your land. These economic laws have got legal implications about the poverty and the growth of a nation. And we must, at all times, change that. Because umusungolo alembeleka daka sentence. And remember, it hasn't changed.
Yes.
He had the future in mind. And the future is, abana obasha munu abasungu abakwatama mines, abakwatama farms, nefiashara, tetimu wafunyepo padia, without negotiating with them.
Yes.
Which was the same concept which was used when Aga Inde Ichilema, the president of this country, was negotiating over Mopani and KCM. Yo taturefu mira ndumu makoti. We shall go for negotiations. When Aga Inde Ichilema purported to come and hand over KCM, Mwalimu Manako Vedanta, he didn't come.
No.
That was an insult. A president of a nation who claims na mumfwana na mcha negotiate an outside settlement, aisa mkushita hand over mine back to you, wakano kuyapoka as a CEO of the company. There's a trick there.
Yeah.
And this is what my young brother, the Minister of Mines, Kabuswe, has fallen into trouble. He can't explain that. On the floor of Parliament, Kabuswe is asked, what is this? No, it is not a sale. Okay, what is it? No, it's not a transfer. Kabuswe, let me ask you a question. Me, I'm a lawyer. If it's not a sale,
And it's not
a transfer, what the hell is it? Tell the Zambians. No, tatulashtisha. No, twalishtisha. Be clear. What are you saying to the Zambians? Last week, on the floor of Parliament, the Speaker, Nelly Muti, ordered Kauso to come back with a ministerial statement explaining that sale. Because the Minister of Finance, Honorable Msokotwane, did not receive a cent, engwe, over that mine. Only Kabuswe and his president, Daka Inde Ichilema, know what they've done over that mine. And the money which is now being invested in that mine is not coming from the investor. Part of the negotiated conditions, one, the investor did not pay any money to the Zambian government.
Yes.
That is fraud. You're saying it's a sale, it's a transfer, but he doesn't pay for his shares. Mwampera 51% of the shares. Based on what? Number two, mwambo kubomfiendela mukufuma kunapsa. Your own company, your own parastatal, money for retirees, for pensioners. Esho mwambo kufundisha nomba contractor. Kumaini yo mwebila na mushicha kuli investor. Umungulu. Ushamulia mano mulichi. I mean, Zambians, let's open up. The president we have currently in this government, the UPND government, aliambane chibusa na wasungu under the Brentwood organizations, IMF, World Bank, so that them and their children and their children's children can still control our economy here. But Zambia must prosper. We are saying no more. We are going to cancel those contracts and we're going to tell them we are getting back our mines until we renegotiate. Ngata ulefua renegotiation, leave. Bakaunda did it. When RCM, NCCM, and the other Anglo-American companies became funny, KK said, get out. I am forming ZCCM. And we shall run our mines. We still sold our copper. We still maintained our profits. If anybody wants to be a miner in this country and an investor in this country, Zambia Must Prosper will propose to them. We don't want all this nonsense of you telling us, taxes, we shall be sharing in the production.
So are you trying to say that Zambia Must Prosper might nationalize some of the mines?
Doesn't it speak for itself? Because as far as we're concerned, we're capable. We are capable of, one, nationalizing, two, running the mines. Uyomusungu kafulwa, ngalefo okuya kumakoti, akaye kumakoti. We shall admit we owe you money, but we shall pay you after 50 years.
Okay.
Or we shall pay you in installments. Umukuba wesu. So why are we pleading? And this is the other trick. The only way you get out of this Muzungu mentality and colonial and neocolonialism arrangement, give them competition. Give them competition. So the first thing you see to Apoga mine, no, you owe me 2 billion. Okay, fine. We owe you 2 billion. Yeah, to Alapiro Mugodi Kuma Chinese. And we'll pay you over 2 years. What's right? He's out. You think they want to leave? No, they will come and negotiate. Umusungu aliwa greedy. You see, from the historical periods, this is why I love history. These chaps during the 1884, 1885 Berlin Conference of Partitioning of Africa, all they discussed was Africa must be used as a source of raw materials. They've never respected us. We as Zambia Must Prosper are putting on record. We want a so-called investor to come here and respect us. Respect our minerals, respect our wealth. And you shall do business on our terms, on our new laws, which shall we enforce and which we shall enact. Not our laws brought by your forefathers. That won't sell. Not anymore.
Mr. KBF, not to cut you, sir. Most leaders in our country, when they're in opposition, they come out the way you're coming out. Even the current head of state, when he was in opposition, he talked about the changing of certain laws. But when people get into power, they change their tone. What assurance can the people that are watching us and listening to us have that when Mr. KBF comes, we will not see him with the people that he's calling to be neocolonialists?
You know, as an African leader, you must always look at the background of somebody. And one of the main contentions now with the so-called leaders we have today is character. Character is about integrity. Character is about sticking to your principles, even when it's not fashionable to do so. If you see the nearest of my friends, when I started school, 68, 69, twale bali before 7 muklas abashala basungu nshitino msungu ine. So look at the guy who comes from Namwala. Okufuma kumushi, utamona po msungu, aisa mona msungu. He starts thinking msungu ni lesa. There's a difference. Character.
4 years ago.
Let me give you my assurance. You've asked me what assurance will the Zambians have. I know the white man. I have studied his books. I know how the white man thinks. A white man believes on speculation. He's a very speculative investor. Unfortunately for the president of this country, my good friend, he has embraced them. Sometimes, in order for you to change an economic setup, you must think in a revolutionary manner. That is the only way people are going to respect you. So for me, I am telling you, Zambians will come first. Not Yabasungu. If any so-called investor wants to come here, if he comes with the colonial mentality, he won't be welcome here. Unfortunately for my friend, he has welcomed them. He has embraced them. He gives them hugs. And that's the unfortunate part. I will not allow that as leader of this country. The Zambians will always come first. Look at what the South Africans did. They got independence, cleared off apartheid. One of the first principles they did is they realized that black South Africans had been disadvantaged for a very long period. Therefore, they allowed a deliberate policy called black empowerment for some of the South African entrepreneurs to grow.
Yes.
There are certain policies you have to come with. There are certain things you have to do for your people to make the difference. What radical difference, what radical program has Aka Indeichilema pronounced, which you, me as a Zambian can say, this has advantaged me against the Mzungu? Nothing. He goes and embraces them. But you know why he has embraced them? They supported him during his campaign. They supported him during the time Ale Pona 5 times before president of this country. So he's paying back. In my campaign, whoever wants to come and help Zambia must prosper, will help Zambia must prosper on our terms. And nothing is going to change if it's going to hurt the Zambians. Otherwise, I don't want their money. I would rather get money from fellow black Africans who understand that we need to kill this spirit of neocolonialism. If we don't kill it, our grandchildren, even our children, will not see the goodness of having a free country like Zambia.
4 years ago, you're on record. You supported the current head of state. You went around the country telling the people that the right path was to go to UPND. What has changed over the last 3 years?
Obufi. Lies. Nshifu omuntu wabufi. I hate a liar more than I hate a thief. I hate omuntu ubepa abantu nali mupata. Aka indeichilema wabufi. Wabufi uwafita fititi. And that's the problem I have. He has lied to the Zambians about every campaign promise that he made. Every campaign promise. Aka Indeichilema's only desire, only ambition was to be president of this country so that his CV reflects that nalipo president. Tapari plan. Na nobody ne tapari plan. Mwewe na copper belt. Mwewe na Luansha specifically. Mungu mfwe. Neiri ni aisa mkuisu dati shaft number 28
shaft.
Kuno kumwenu kuluansha. Tapari file chitika mulia. Those jobs will not be created. Fwewa kesa panga ili nchiton. Fwewa Zambia must prosper. We know why.
Talking about the issue of creating jobs, fuel prices and the cost of living remains high, while the value of the kwacha struggles against other major global currencies. How does your party plan to stabilize the economy and relieve financial pressures on us, the citizens of this country? Yes.
And I want to prove it. Graph.
Yeah.
Zambia dinkachitaka create fuel ikabwela up to 10 kwacha.
Yes.
The dollar ikabwela because of investor confidence.
Yes.
I am not an economist. I'm a simple lawyer. But I know that umuntu tachitiri attack the foundations of business, which is the law. If you are so I realized any economist will tell you, no matter how big, no matter how fundamentally flawed a system is, look at two indicators. One, the rate of that currency of a country against major currencies.
Yes.
Two, look at the rate of inflation. That tells you where the country is. This guy, our president, said to the Zambians, overrating his confidence, overrating his credibility. Let's say we're sworn in at 10 hours. by 14 hours, by 14, the dollar would have
Improved.
And no, the kwacha
would have improved and the dollar would have reduced.
We've never seen an improvement of the dollar. In fact, it's been skyrocketing. Today, it's 27.7 kwacha to a dollar.
They say it didn't specify
No,
which day.
no, no. Mwila umfila bakapembwana imwe. Vamayowa na lumango na owe nina bajo ina babu fi. I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
She speaks like she's not a reverend. Ubu fina imuvi na mayomuleke. Let's be real. Vamayowa kapembwa na lumango na basangukana babu fi. And I'm calling her the same. Because she wanted to deny it on the floor of parliament. Atiaka Inde never said that. He said it. Don't take us for fools. No. So for us, as Zambia must prosper, how are we going to spin this thing? The first thing is exactly the thing I've told you. The economic laws, Bwana. Attack the economic laws. Change them to suit you. For instance, studio,
Yes.
you've come up as Afrozam.
Yes.
With this concept. A very brilliant idea. The people you've introduced me to are all juniors in terms of youth.
I'm the only one who's above 30 amongst my team.
Exactly. What loan did you get from the banks?
We didn't get any loan.
What help did you get from the commercial industry?
No, they didn't.
Exactly. You know why? The loans are skewed against you.
Yeah.
The laws are skewed because they'll tell you, program later. On a balance of, the program looks good. The project looks good. But we can't fund it. Why? You need collateral.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're under 30. Your friends are more or less that age.
Yes.
So you tell me, at your age, walafunya kuisenganda, oyo at collateral.
That's when we're trying to build.
Now, if you don't change, how do you and your friends improve?
It's very difficult.
And I'm really sorry to use you as an example, but the truth of the matter is you are suffering because your government doesn't care. Now, how many of you, and by you I mean how many of you in this bracket as youths, have got those ideas, but you can't explain? Let me tell you what happened. Just after the 1863 proclamation of the abolition of slavery by Abraham Lincoln, the American president, 16th American president, if I may be right, what did the southern states do? They declared war.
Yeah, the Civil War.
Why did they do that? They said, you're taking away our machines. That time, we, with this skin color, were looked at as machines.
Yes, cheap
to
labor.
work in their cotton plantations, their groundnut plantation, their tobacco, their sugarcane plantations. So, to allow Bombashan, the government had to negotiate after 1865 when C.S. Grant took over as the president after Wilson, after Abraham Lincoln, Wilson, then C.S. Grant.
Yes.
When he took over and he won the war, that's when they went into a period called the Reconciliation of America. That period, the American government agreed to compensate all the slave owners for the loss of their machines, the Africans. 2, they gave them the extra land so that could be part of the... But the worst part was they also allowed them credit. Credit. In Congole.
Yes.
And some of those loans, they never paid back. How is the next youth being supported? When the government realizes the laws are skewed against the Zambians. That's the problem we have. And if you have a leader who does not go back into history to understand and study these things and say, how do I come and change this in an government? Instead of thinking about the poor Zambians who voted for him into power, is thinking about impressing Abasungu. You can't have a president like that. This president does not appreciate to gain our political independence. Right now, he's emphasizing now for us to go through the economic turmoils. This neocolonialism must end. It only ends when we change the laws, the economic laws, and we change the practical conditions of the Zambian people. Zambia must prosper, has already done its research and development, and that's where we're going to take this country.
The other pressing issue that we're going through as a country is the issue of electricity. Currently, climate change, there were people who were naysayers. 20 years ago, when we were faced this theory of climate change was in the mainstream, a lot of people were naysayers, but now each and every one of us has been impacted by this. How does your government plan on addressing our electricity issues as a country?
Our country sits just above the equator, or just below the equator, rather.
Yeah.
But our northern circuit, 4 provinces, Northwestern Province, Northern Province, Wapula Province, and Muchinga Province, enjoy relatively the same amount of rainfall year in, year out. The first thing Zambia must prosper is going to do, we're going to set up mini hydropower stations along that belt in those 4 provinces.
Why don't we diversify?
No. Wait for me. The reason for it is we're going to set up as many small hydropower stations, 10 megawatts, 20, 30, 50, 100 megawatts. A total combination of this will give us maybe 2,000 megawatts of power. Because the water there is sufficient and we can do this. This is number 1. It will relieve the pressure of the Kariba, Lower Kariba, Iteji, and all the other dams in the southern side of Zambia. Number 2, look at the sun. We've got the free sun. They don't see this sun for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
But they still have solar power. We are going to set up solar farms. And some of the solar farms we're going to set up, I've been to countries where the solar panels are along highways. Like you start solar farming from Nakonde to Kapirimposh.
That's a long stretch.
That's a long stretch. Every 20, 50 meters, there's a pole, which is 6 meters, 8 meters high, with a solar panel sitting. Every 50 meters, you tie those into a battery, kick it into the national grid. How many solar panels are you going to have? We've got the Muchinga escarpment. Put solar panels on the Muchinga escarpment. It runs all the way from Mukushi to Nakonde. Panels can run on that mountain. In the Chipata Eastern Bloc, we've got Amanenikela.
As you're going to Chipata.
All those hills, put solar panels there. They'll capture that heat, let it go into the batteries. Solar farms can also be put Malungu, where you don't want to do your farming. Those grasslands. Just put up solar panels there. Capture that sun, capture that electricity, put it in the batteries, kick it into the national grid. That's the second option. Third option, we're going to use bio. We've got Kunoku Kumwenu, Kuluansha, Inena Kulia Kumufurira. But all the towns on the Copper Belt were planned in the same way. Ngamuleya ku western side, there were sewers.
Yes. Yeah.
So you agree with me?
Yeah.
So that side, you don't just collect the sewer as it's leaving. No, you burn that bio and create electricity. You know you can create electricity from that?
Yeah, we can even do biogas digesters.
Now you're agreeing with me. Why haven't we done that? There's so much technology open on the streets now. The fourth area is we can do solid waste management. I know of plants in Europe, in China, in India, where they collect all the waste. They heat it, run through the water, create electricity.
Geothermal.
So, your city council just has to employ people to collect. That's where you go. But right now, you don't need Kumarabo. Set up an industry right there.
Because the waste is actually...
it's cheap, way.
And it's a raw material.
I'm speaking to the converted. So you understand. And you know that in some countries, this kind of electricity can power an entire province. So why are you going to waste this material? If you've traveled this country as much as I have, you will note that you cannot go from one province to the next without crossing at least 4 rivers.
Yes.
Whichever
direction
you go to. Where does that water go?
I'll give you an example. To the ocean.
When Vasatabali Mupawa, he went to Shuangandu and he found that those castles are in a Shanton in our light. He said, but we've got a Castremark. On the rapids there, Zesco was forced to put up mega.
Yes.
2 to 5 megawatts of power is produced from there. It's powering right through to Chinsari. Now, if we can power and generate power from just rapids, what more kwabamenshi? Along the belt of the northern province, starting from Mbala, going down to Mporokoso, there are almost 14, 16 falls. Walungu has a likable personality when you compare him to Aga Indechirema. Aga Indechirema wakaso. wakasote tiafunyira ngutungo oko kupera valungu vari kwatoko oko valapera. You may call him no vari kwetefi vari chitefi, but he loves his people, he loves his country. I cannot say the same about Hakainde Hichilema right now. He's got a problem. So Balungu is going to have a serious impact. Whether he stands or he doesn't stand, he's going to have an impact. And the reason is because he's liked by the Zambian people. Whoever Balungu is going to align himself to will beat Hakainde Hichilema. That I can assure you. And that, for me, and speaking as a president of Zambia Must Prosper, we want to ensure that we work with PF and other opposition political parties, because we realize we have to redeem this country against this nonsense which is going on. This is not leadership. This is not leadership. The Zambians deserve better. And Hakainde Hichilema has driven this country to the ground. Like I said, the economic factors, the economic indicators are clear. The inflation rate, the rate of the dollar against the kwacha. Those two, just those two. You don't need to go into details, just those two. Any economist will tell you we've got a problem with this country. So right now, our country is in surgery, in ICU. And the person who has driven us into the ICU is the person who lied that he was going to get us of that which he claimed to be the ICU at the time. He has driven us to a worse position than we were before. So Walungu's coming back to power. For me, I welcome it because we have to fight to defend democracy. Remember what I said. The main reason we as Zambia Must Prosper left the political alliance, the UPND, is when Hakainde Hichilema asked me to collapse Zambia Must Prosper into UPND. I realized this guy is a dictator. This guy wants a one-party participatory democracy. This guy loves power. There's a difference between using power to serve the people and using power to grandiose yourself. If you are I saw through that, I realized, no. Better nafumamo. Because the fifikesa at wedel. But also, why do you want to kill democracy? Why does Hakainde Hichilema want to kill democracy? Because that's all he wants to do. He wants to ensure that all the opposition leaders, especially from PF, are arrested, given cases. Number two, that PF itself in such confusion that it can't stand. Three, any opposition leader who wants to speak against him, under the Economic Crimes Court.
Mr. Fobe,
Mukai.
You are a lawyer. Lawyer. When you say you imply that these people actually don't have cases, but they're being found guilty in the courts of law. So are you saying our judiciary is compromised?
I've been a lawyer for too long. You say you're under 30.
Yes.
I began practicing law before you were born. So it gives you the kind of experience I have.
Yes.
I also know that sometimes the court systems can face pressure. Can I simply say that?
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
So we do not...
No. I'm an officer of the court.
Yeah.
I cannot insult the judiciary, but I know that what is happening today, some of it should not be happening.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.